Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll explain to you all you need to know about developing the user interface through Dynamo in Revit. To develop this user interface, we have an external package known as data shapes that provides us with the various options to get inputs through user interface in Dynamo. So to get this package, you can go to the packages tab and then search for a package, and a window that will say syncing with server will appear, and once the syncing with server is completed you can search any of your package over here. So we're waiting for syncing. Yes, syncing is completed, so we can search data shapes, and we can click over here install latest version and install this package. Since I've already installed, so I'll just use it. So in data shapes we have a user interface where we have a main multiple input form. This form is a multiple uh, form that is used for all the inputs, for example for boolean, color input, drop down, directory, data. So this form is used for all those inputs. So after that we have an input section where we can get the boolean input, color input, conditional input, data table, sliders, text box, tree views, image data, file path. So we can get various inputs from here, and similarly we can select various things. If you want to select some element, some phase, or some linked element in the Revit through Dynamo, so these nodes will provide us the user interface to that. So now here I'll use most common uh, type of inputs that we need. So for example, we have to get some input. Do you want print or so? The default value is false. You can select you can change the default value as well. And similarly we have a color input where I say please select color in drop down. For example, you want your user to input you with the variants of Revit, so you can provide the drop down data node to ask the user to select some variant. So here we have a keys, and same as values, we can select some default value index, and we can change the sorted options as well. Similarly, uh, if we want some user to provide us with a directory path where we can save some file or store some data, so this is the node that provides us the user interface for that. We can also provide some default path, but since if no default path is provided, the directory path will be used. Similarly, for the slider we can have a minimum and maximum value. For example, I want the slider to work from 0 to 10, and then we have a default value that can be like 5, and then we have a step, so I have to use a step of 1 in the slider. So minimum, maximum, default value, and a step. Similarly, we have a node that asks to select model elements data. So we can have any input name, button text, we can change that. And then we have a category filter. If you only want to select particular category, for example, you only want to select windows or doors, so you can use this node of categories. And sorry, example doors. So now it will only select the door, and then we have select single element or select multiple elements. So by default it can select multiple elements, but if you want to select single element, then you would have to provide a boolean node over here and set that to true, and that would be default value. So now I have created a list of all these inputs and provided it to a input form. We can have a variable description. For example, I say as user input demo, We can provide some logo, optional logo as well. We can provide the button text that says a default value, so I can provide that to like proceed. We have input. uh, Toggle is basically whether you want to run the node or not. So here we have to select the boolean, sorry, to true, and then we have sorry, let me run this to manual. Then we have a link to help option if you want to create that, and if you want to change the cancel button text, this is also available. You can also set the height and width of label in this form as well, but we will go with the default value. The logo option is only if there is no logo provided, it would use the default logo of data shapes itself. So let me now run the script and see what are the results that we generate from it. So here we have a default value. Do you want to print or not? So you can change that. By default it is set true. We can select color as well, like any color. Then we have a variant of Revit which is thing. Then we can select some directory. I'll select for example this. So directory is set. Now we can have some slider values, like how many repetitions of any process do you want. And we can also select some model element by clicking over here and then clicking on that particular model element. And since I have set the category of doors only, so it will select the only doors near to that point, and not any other element of any other category. And similarly, then since I have set the text to proceed, it will now you know proceed. We can proceed to move forward, and we can use this information that we have uh, got through this interface. We can use this information to any other Revit process and any other Dynamo programming. So I hope that I have been very clear in explaining to you guys how you would develop your user interface in Dynamo using the data shapes. If you have any comments, and I would be delighted to entertain you through the comment section. Thank you so much for visiting me, and thank you.